Thank you very much, Karen, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to join Maine Heritage Policy Center this afternoon and welcoming Marco Rubio to our great state. And I'm honored and excited to introduce to all of you Florida's next United States Senator. On the campaign trail, I learned two things: have a strong opening, a strong closing, and keep them very close together. So I will try to shorten this and get Mr. Rubio up here very quickly. But before I do that, I do want to say a few remarks. Marco and I, and everyone in this room agree, it's time for a new direction in Maine and a new direction for the United States of America. Our challenges will be enormous. The radical progressive movement, the one that stifled growth and prosperity here in Maine for the last 40 years, has now overrun Washington. These progressive ideologues continue to ram through an agenda of soaring taxes, reckless spending, ballooning deficits, and cozy backroom deals. And folks, here in Maine, if I promise you nothing else, I will never sign a bill at midnight while the press is sleeping. That's because I go to bed too early. This is unacceptable behavior. It's dangerous and will destroy our country. But it can be stopped, and folks, it will be stopped.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd like to thank President Obama, Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, Governor Baldacci, and of course, my opponent, Libby Mitchell. Their ramming and jamming leftist agenda has been the single greatest rallying cry to get the people of our state and our country to say enough is enough. We are energized, we are mobilized, and we are ready to reverse direction, both here and in Washington. This year will be a historic year. This is the year when we, fellow Mainers, and our fellow Americans will stand together to reject the destructive big government agenda. We will elect leaders here in Maine and in Washington who will stop Obama's train wreck in its tracks, the so-called hope and change agenda. All of us here can take care of Maine, people in this room, but there's one gentleman sitting over there that we need to have in Washington, and that's Marco Rubio. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this oppressive leader from our Sunshine State. Highly regarded for his principles, energetic and idea-driven leadership, Marco Rubio is the candidate and will be the U.S. Senator from Florida. It's very, very seldom in life that you get to introduce someone that was born the year you graduated from college. We were talking a few minutes earlier, my daughter attends Florida State, and I told them there's some good news and bad news. Bad news, she's coming up here to work on my campaign. The good news is she promised me she would convert 10 liberals before she gets home. Marco was born in Miami to Cuban-born parents who came to America following Fidel Castro's takeover. Rubio attended South Miami Senior High School, graduating in 1989. In 1993, graduated with Bachelor of Science from University of Florida and continued his studies at University of Miami, where he earned his Juris Doctorate cum laude in 1996. From 2000 to 2008, Mr. Rubio served in the Florida House of Representatives. During this period, he served as Majority Whip, Majority Leader, and Speaker of the House, effectively promoting an agenda of lower taxes, better schools, a leaner and more efficient government, and a free market empowerment. During the 2 years prior to assuming his speakership, Mr. Rubio traveled around his state hosting idea raises to solicit Floridians' input on ways to strengthen the state of Florida. The 100 best ideas were compiled into a book entitled 100 Innovative Ideas for Florida's Future, which served as his basis for his term. The Florida House passed all 100 ideas. Former U.S. House Speaker Newt Gingrich hailed the effort as a work of genius. And I need to spend a little time with him before he goes away so I can steal some of those ideas. In addition to these ideas, Rubio championed a major overhaul of Florida tax system that would have eliminated property tax on primary residences in favor of flat consumption tax. The effort garnered national attention, where Grover Norquist, president of the American Tax Reform, praising Rubio as the most pro-taxpayer legislative leader in the country. During his career, Mr. Rubio also promoted efforts to develop a world-class public schools, increase performance-based accountability